All right, Dan, we'll see you soon. Thanks. An Amherst Middle School guidance counselor fired for allegedly misgendering students has now been reinstated after winning her termination case through arbitration. Western Mass News reporter Addie Patterson joins us in studio after speaking with the school superintendent. So, Addie, how'd that conversation go?
Amanda, the superintendent tells us they're calling on the community now to hold space for understanding, not division at this time, to recognize the complexity of the situation and the importance of moving forward with both care and accountability.
We are committed as a school district to meet our legal obligations and make sure that we do so in a manner that is in the best interest of students.
Amherst School Superintendent Dr. Isioma Herman issuing a public statement Wednesday providing an update on the arbitration case involving former guidance counselor Delinda Dykes. She was let go by the district back in 2023 following a Title IX investigation into how staff at Amherst Regional Middle School handled incidents of reported LGBTQ+ bullying. In her statement, Herman writing that the arbitrator ruled in favor of Dykes and ordered the district to reinstate her immediately to her position.
We are still committed, and even more so committed, to having accountability grounded in structured and consistent implemented practices to make sure that our school system functions well.
Western Mass News caught up with Superintendent Herman following Wednesday's announcement. She explains that Dykes' reinstatement may raise concern for some community members. However, the district wants to use this as a teaching moment to improve how they handle these situations going forward and to make sure that they properly document these types of incidents.
We have to reflect as a district and see, how do we shift and pivot and move forward to ensure that our commitment to students, to just being student-centered, to being an inclusive district, to where we celebrate our students' identities. It's not an easy road ahead, but it is one that everyone is committed to moving towards.
Per the ruling, Dykes must also be issued back pay for work she was unable to complete after being let go.
Our council is working with her council so that the district can comply with its legal obligations and do so in a manner that stays within the law and respects the values of the district.